Big blow for Barcelona in their quest, of course, to take the title away from Real Madrid. It's early days, of course, we know that. But there's a big match coming up, and it's called El Clásico. And we know that Araujo and Koundé look like they both will be missing out on that tie with the injuries picked up in the international week. We've put De Jong and Depay in there as well. They also picked up knocks, but they should be fine. But Luis Garcia, let's focus on the defence, shall we, and how big a problem this is for your former team.
Yes, it is a big problem. It's true that at the moment, Xavi and the club made a lot of work during the summer to try to make this squad with stronger than last year, with more depth. And at the moment, they look like this. It's true that Koundé, Araujo are very important players. Xavi, for him, they are key players at the back. But we cannot forget that Eric Garcia is being the 11 starters as well. That they got Christensen, that also did very well when he's been on the field. That you still have in Piqué, that even though there is no counting for the club, but suddenly probably he's going to be an important and key player for the coming weeks. So I think that, it's a concern, but you can see that you still have him. I think that Xavi knows that the back is where they have the most problem. They got players up front that can score goals. They got a lot of players in the midfield, even though that Frank de Jong is not going to be available. They're still having Gavi, Pedri, a lot of good players with Busquets that can continue keeping this team in the top of the table. But at the back, they struggle. They still concede in moment very many chances. But when Xavi looks at the bench and sees that is Piqué there with a lot of experience, that is Christensen, that is hungry to get more minutes, I think it's still, even though they prefer the other players, still calm and knowing that he's got enough players to compete for the Liga trophy.
Big deal?
I think it is a big deal because there's a reason as to why you were so strong in moving away from Gerard Piqué, from Jordi Alba, that these are players that while you like to have them in the locker room and you like to have their presence, you don't necessarily want to have them on the field because otherwise you would have made them a first choice starters, and they haven't been. The other thing is that you try to move away from having, say, for example, I'm just going to throw a name out there, Sergio Roberto, go play right back. And that's where you're back to, because then who's going to play that position? So I do think it's a big deal, especially if these injuries extend all the way up until El Clásico. Now think of those matchups and think of potentially what is it that Real Madrid does very well. In transition, Vinicius, and he's facing 1v1 against whoever comes out there, whether that's Sergio Roberto, whether that's Piqué that has to come into a wide area. You don't want any of that. Christensen in transition, you don't want any of that. So within that context, what does Real Madrid do really well? Well, they'll force a turnover in a bad area and they go in transition right away and they're picking Vinicius out. What is it that Barcelona really struggles with? Is transition defensively. Guys like Koundé and Araujo helped you deal with that because of their athleticism. When that athleticism is not there, it leaves a big hole for Barcelona.
It's going to be fascinating to see how it all plays out. Of course, it is the biggest El Clásico in years, and it is live on ESPN Plus. As we thank Luis Garcia. Coverage of that game will start early. It's early kickoff. On Sunday, October the 16th. Coverage starts at 9:15 Eastern on Plus. Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.